If you've been following my YouTube channel and our travels all over the world, you'll probably notice that I had various forms of help as my issue with my knee progressed and got a little more challenging to work with. First I was on a cane, then I got a mobility scooter, and that really helped. But over the course of the 5 months that we spent on the high seas on our world cruise with Silver Sea, I had visits to 5 different hospitals, starting in Xiamen, China, which was very interesting, where I had an ultrasound to check for blood clots, and then aspirations in Mahi and the Seychelles and Lisbon and a number of other places, ending up at the Mass General Hospital in Boston. And I thought I'd do a little video about what those experiences were like in those hospitals around the world, and also to have a little comparison about what was happening with the payments. I had an insurance policy that covered most of, actually covered all the visits, but some hospitals are like $40 and some hospitals were $4,000, so it was very interesting. Obviously the $4,000 was the U.S. hospital. So let's get into it and take you through the hospitals of the world.
YOLO adventure, live your dreams, chase the sunsets, follow streams, one life, one chance, come explore. YOLO adventure, there's so much more.
During this whole challenging episode on the cruise, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Dr. Natasha, our ship's doctor, who was absolutely fabulous. She understood the issues. She worked with me to make sure that I didn't do any further harm to myself, and also was instrumental in me being able to complete the cruise and not have to go home early. So we are deeply indebted to her for her compassion, for her professionalism, and her friendship. So as the knee started to expand and swell up and become an increasing problem, there was also a concern about blood clotting. So Dr. Natasha decided that we should go get an ultrasound, and she wanted to pick a hospital that was competent, and we were going to wait till get to Singapore. But a few days later, she was able to identify a hospital in Xiamen, China, that was competent, and she was assured by her ground support that it was a good hospital. And we started to disembark the ship, and we were taken with a car and a guide to the hospital for the ultrasound. We're in a car going from the ship to the hospital in Xiamen, China. Xiamen is the 3rd largest city in China, very modern city, and I'm going to go see an orthopedic surgeon and a vascular surgeon to see what the heck is going on with my knee.
And the process through immigration was very streamlined, very good. And who do we thank? The young gentleman for pushing that wheelchair up and down ramps?
Yeah, Johnny.
Johnny. Thank you, Johnny.
Xiamen, China is a port city in the Fujian province. It's located on the Taiwanian Strait, very, very close to Taiwan. It's known as the Garden of the Sea and is considered one of China's most pleasant cities, and it is really lovely. As we approached the hospital, we realized that it was a very modern complex, many buildings, and fairly new. Our driver took us right to the front door. We waited for him to park the car, and then we entered the emergency room where he helped us get checked in, and we waited to be called by the appropriate people. One of the things that we immediately noticed was the fact that it was very organized and very clean. We also noticed that many family members accompanied the patients, because in fact the family members became part of the treating team. In other words, as they were being rolled down the corridors on their gurneys, the family members were carrying the IV bags, etc. Just a little short That's 10 seconds.
After a meeting with the triage personnel, we were directed to a treatment room, and Virginia sort of held back, but she was encouraged to come into the room, and as she was always by my side, that was very comforting. But actually, the reason that they invited her into the room was she was part of the treatment team. In other words, she assisted the technician with the sonogram by positioning my leg where it was needed. So that was very interesting to see that happening. That's how they keep their costs low, I guess. The ultrasound was very, very complete, very thorough. I thought that she did a good job. And following the treatment, then we were presented with some printouts of the sonogram and the results, and we were on our way back to the ship very quickly. So what did all this cost? $54. $54, 439 Chinese yuan. What a bargain. So that was foreign hospital number one. The next one was in the Seychelles. About 3 weeks later, the knee started getting very, very tight. The fluid inside the knee was getting to be untenable. I spoke with my doctor in the United States, and he said, okay, go get it aspirated. So our lovely Dr. Natasha found a wonderful clinic. We met with a Russian doctor, Dr. Krashenko, who was very, very good. He did an aspiration, explaining everything as he went along. He took over 1,000 cc's, which is a whole liter, out of my knee, which he was very surprised about. He then took a culture and he sent it off to the laboratory, and the results came back negative. So we were encouraged to continue our journey on our ship. Total bill for that visit, including some antibiotics and lab work, was $65. Dr. Kravchenko recommended an MRI to see if there was any vascular necrosis. So on the next port, which was Port Louis in Mauritius, we went to a city clinic there and had the MRI CAT scan, and the negative results, there was no bone necrosis, so we continued on. As we went along, the fluid started building up yet again. So we made a plan to go to the next port, which was Lisbon in Portugal, and made arrangements at the CUF hospital, which is a very high-end private hospital. And the doctor there proceeded to aspirate, and he ended up taking out 850 cc's. He just aspirated and aspirated and aspirated. And it was such a shock in terms of the amount. It was a record for the hospital that all the orthopedic staff was coming in to observe the phenomenon of all this aspirated fluid. And the bill for this private hospital was $439. That wasn't bad. As time progressed and the knees started to again fill up, we then decided to make another stop in Helsinki, Finland, to get an aspiration. We were referred to a very lovely hospital, part of the university, and the aspiration didn't go very well. It only yielded 133 cc's, and that was because the knee was getting harder and the swelling was moving up more towards the thigh. And that procedure again was about $425, which seemed to be consistent with the hospitals that we had visited. As we continued on into May and we had 3 weeks left, we muddled through with various help of the scooter and the cane and Virginia and the crew helping. And we got to Boston and thought maybe we'll go to Mass General, which had been our hospital, and check it out and see if we should continue on or go right home. Well, it was Memorial Day, and it was not a very big crew on, and there were mostly young residents. We were there 5.5 hours. Didn't get any good advice except you're not doing any more harm, so you can stay on the ship for another couple of days.
Of course, at Mass General, they did total workups, they did x-rays, they did blood work, they called in every kind of specialist to look at me and talk to me and so on, sort of padding the bill, which is typical in the U.S. The total bill was $4,850. Of course, I only had to pay $140 because I had Medicare and extra coverage, but around the world, they didn't do that. They did what was necessary and only what was necessary. Hope you enjoyed this video of the hospitals around the world. We were very impressed. Virginia and I thought the hospital care and the medical care was as good as it is here in the U.S. They do not go overboard. They only do what's necessary, but we were very pleased overall. Please give us a thumbs up, make a comment if you wish, and we'll see you in the next video.
YOLO adventure.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you in the next video.
YOLO adventure. There's so much more.